Check one. Testing, 1, 2.
1, 2. 1, 2. Check.
1, 2. One, two.
And get up.
Man. All right, we're gonna get it going.
Chat's already coming in. Leah Keister says it's Friday. Yay. Pop's giving us a check on the audio. He says there's some echo from Paul. Buddy is okay though.
Trying to work it out.
Paul is coming live from the void. Trying to get it together for brothers, get it together for sisters. Let us know how we sounding, fam. Judy Prinzer coming in, reminding us honoring Prince today. Ooh. Yeah, man. Here we are. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd in attendance.
Check.
Yeah.
One, two. You guys hear me?
Yeah, it's a Freaky Friday today, y'all. It's the 21st, Friday the 21st, 2023 here on Omaha. First Sky Omaha in the morning. I'm gonna hold it down. On my man Paul B tries to get it together for brothers, get it together for sisters. Pop saying still reverb. Are you hearing that when I talk, or is that still coming from Paul? Let us know how the audio is sounding. Again, Paul is on the road. I'll kind of let you explain, what's going on as much as you can or as much as you want. Amy H coming in, letting us know. She says, "Good morning. Buddy sounds good. Paul is echoing and quiet. You are a little quiet over there, man." Okay, Pop says only Paul's side. So, yeah, I mean, as you can see, we are live here for the next 2 hours. It's 8:00 right now where I am. I'm not quite sure where you are, Paul. What time is it over there? 7. Okay. He's not even talking.
It's actually 6.
Oh, okay. It's 6. So, okay. So yeah, we're gonna try to get the audio together, but regardless, we're still gonna do the show. We're still here. We're doing the thing. It's live. It's happening right here, right now. If you believe in the concept of time, now is really the only time. That's all you got. That's all you got. What they say yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery, and today is a gift. There you go. So yeah, let us know how you're feeling. As always, chime into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Let us know what you got going on this weekend. As Leah Keister says, it is Friday. So let us know what you have going on in the morning, or let us know what you have going on over the weekend. So yeah, what's going on this morning in your life, or what's going on this weekend? If you have any haps, feel free to drop that into the chat. Maybe save it a little later on for the show so we can find it in the chat and shout it out. But again, if you have that, get that ready, and we'll try to give it some acknowledgement. Pop's coming in and giving me a second on that. He says today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Yes, sir. Finishing the saying for me. Yeah, man. Definitely take advantage of what we woke up this morning. It's a blessing. So take advantage of it. Do something good. As all of you have known, I've been observing a fast throughout the month of Ramadan. Again, the holiday itself is not necessarily Ramadan. The month is called Ramadan, and during the month of Ramadan, it is of Islamic custom to fast. So I've been doing that, and it's not just about fasting. It's also about giving back, man. It's also about giving, doing good deeds for others as we fast, as we kind of restrict ourselves of food and water and unclean thoughts and deeds. We also try to give back to others. So try to do that, man, and you'll be surprised how much it actually gives to you. So beautiful, beautiful thing, man. We gonna keep giving. As I always say, teamwork makes the dream work, and that's what it's always about. That's what it's all about, at least here in this season. Season 5, I think. Is that I've honestly lost count, man. It's getting is getting deep. It's getting deep. So we definitely appreciate all the chat timers. Speaking of getting deep, of course, we're going to have the senators on today. Senators Wayne Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on their names. Got to say the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest. We've been getting deep in what's going on in the legislature, so we'll definitely be talking to them about that. Looking forward to that and whatever else they got going on in their worlds. Speaking of talking, Paul B is back. So, Paul, can you see, how you sounding? Can you say something for us?
Well, let's see.
Okay.
Man. No. Still got echo going.
You're hearing echo. I don't hear echo. I hear you a little louder. People, let us know in the chat. How's Paul sounding? Yeah. Keep us honest, y'all. Keep us honest.
I'll keep working on it.
Yeah. Keep working. I'll keep in the chat with the co-host. That's why we call y'all the co-host. They're responding, so we definitely, if I talk, they're gonna talk back. I definitely appreciate that. Larry Keister says Earth Day at Elmwood tomorrow. Okay, so I was thinking Earth Day was last weekend, so it's this weekend coming up. Big shout out to everybody who organizes that. I actually had the pleasure of coming to Earth Day. I actually performed at Earth Day, the Earth Day celebration that they had at Elmwood last year. They saw some of the folks out there. Saw my man Shamari and Coleman, aka Wakanda One. They were out there doing their thing. My man Marcy Yates actually helped me. I that's what it was. I hopped on the set with Marcy and Zoboy, aka the Dilla Kids, man. So shout out to them. And shout out to everybody who's organizing the Elmwood Earth Day event. Again, Lake Keisha reminding us that's going on tomorrow. So if you don't have any plans over the weekend, make sure you get out there, man. It's going to be a good time. It's always a beautiful time. Good energy, good people, good entertainment, good vendors, a lot of good organizations going on. Of course, we talk about, how do we find out what organizations are who's doing what work in the community. And if you care about the earth, if you care about the environment, of course, we've been talking about environmental reporting here on the show lately. Shout out to our partners over at The Reader. If you care about the environment, if you care about the earth on Earth Day, go ahead and go down there and connect with some like-minded individuals. Again, teamwork makes the dream work. Amy H. Don in the chat saying, happy Ramadan, buddy. Thank you. Ramadan Mubarak to all those out there observing. Stand strong. Inshallah. Pops in the chat says, I asked an old man how he is doing. He said, son, as long as I wake up on the right side of the grass, it's a wonderful day. Amen. Perspective.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You still hear echo over there?
Yes, it's definitely Not going. I don't think it's going to stop. I'm gonna try a couple more things, and if not, I'll come in through the phone or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. If you can do that, again, we're gonna figure it out. And y'all just can keep letting us know, because honestly, I don't hear an echo, but it's not about me. It's about the people. As long as the people can hear, and they are saying tons of echo. Pop saying tons of echo. Judy Prince are saying echo. Amy H. Dot saying echo. So keep working on that. But kind of to let you know how the people are feeling, a quick temperature. Judy Prinzler says would rather have echo than no Paul B. So they were rather echo than silent. So they're giving you some love over there, man. Kimra in the chat, shout out to Sister Kimra Snipe. She says, good morning, y'all. Pops, I always say, as long as I'm walking and breathing, I'm winning. Yeah, man. Perspective again, y'all. Perspective. That's what it's always about. Is it glass half full or glass half empty? And shout out to J. Cole. He added a whole nother element to it. He said glass full of ether. So, however you want to look at it, it's the same glass. Ariel's 402, the mayor in the chat. He says Dharma and Karma. Okay, hitting us with a little Eastern wisdom. Dharma and Karma. Yeah, definitely what you getting back what you put out there. So, spread love, y'all. Spread love. Be the change you want to see, which is a big thing. We've been kind of talking about some organizations in the community. I'll just say that, and what they are and aren't doing. But we can talk about that. We can hold each other accountable. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's also keep in mind you can control what you can control, and you can't control other people. I'm not sure what you're doing over there, but I'm hearing some other sounds. So yeah, now I'm hearing myself echo. Yeah, keep at it. But yes, yeah, control what you can control, which is yourself. Do what you can do. Be the change that you would like to see, and usually things tend to fall into place when you do that. So big shout out to everybody out there doing that. Going back to the chat, Pop says, "I hear you, Cameron. I'm all the way there with you." Yeah, man. This side of the ground, this side of the grass, this side of the bars is kind of how I put it, man. So yeah, definitely. Got to celebrate life. That's what it's all about. It's a celebration. I know we talk about a lot of doom and gloom here because, we got to stay on top of what's going on in the community, what's going on outside. You can't just be in a bubble. We have to definitely stay aware of what's happening because it can make its way to your front door. So don't think you can just stay inside of home and, it's not going to touch you. So we're definitely going to talk about it, but we're also going to celebrate life and talk about the good stuff as well. So again, man, let us know. Go ahead, Paul.
Check 1 2. Echo there.
I haven't been hearing echo the whole time. So you tell me, do you hear echo? Do you hear echo? Let us know, people, what's going on out there. Again, we're just opening banter. We are going to try to get this thing rolling here in a few minutes. Yeah, let us know if you're hearing the echo. Paul, hey, they're saying still echo.
Thanks.
I wonder. Let me try something. Turn off my mix minus. Now you try.
Nah, I ain't got nothing to do with your mix minus.
Okay, Josh Teg says Paul sounds like the voice of God.
Yes, my children. Are you guys still hearing echo right now? Because I'm not hearing nothing now.
Mr. Stewart in the chat. Good morning, sir. He says not as bad though. Okay, there it is. Whatever you or I did, fix the problem.
Well, the only problem is I can't hear myself, but I guess I can.
But you can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, you should be able to hear yourself to some extent. You're talking, right?
Only because it is myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, we can.
Well, hey, thanks everybody for bearing with me on that stuff. I'm in the void. Been doing some. I'm on the road right now, so I stopped and got up early to come and do the show. And that means we're not in the studio. We're in the void. That means got to deal with the tech stuff. So sorry about that. And appreciate everybody that is bearing with us and being our side techs.
See, everybody is blaming it on. I don't know what I did or how I got everybody on my neck, but everybody said since Buddi did his thing, no echo, that fixed it. Mr. Stewart said, "What you just did, Mark?"
All right, no, it's all good. I switched up some inputs and outputs, and that, like I said, that made it so I can't hear myself in the mix. But I don't need to hear myself in the mix, I suppose, as long as I can hear you, and as long as I can read the comments. That's all it is. So,
man, we doing the thing. So you can see the comments, you can see the chat going on.
Wait, hold on. Let me see.
Got to put the readers on.
Oh, okay. Hey. Now I can see. Now I can see the chat.
There you go. Hey, I'm in the same boat.
It's hard being out the studio, bro. It's little. I got the little screen here and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, man,
the comforts of life, man. You get used to them.
We did a lot to get them studios up and running. So, on the road, I'll be suffering like, man. But it's all good. We'll refine as we go.
Hey, we're doing the thing. But yes, this is the test. Again, if y'all remember last year, we tried that show from Napa Valley. We did the show remotely from the hotel room. We are still planning on doing some traveling this year. Planning on Paul coming down here, so we'll be doing some different things and planning on taking y'all with us. So, man, we appreciate and love the audience that we have built. We love y'all dearly and truly. We enjoy engaging with you all and having a titillating conversation, if you will. So, yeah, man, we're definitely going to take you with us wherever we go, and we plan on going some places. So, we're cloud hopping, if you will.
Yep.
So, yeah, as you said, Paul's on the road right now. Definitely safe travels to you. But yeah, man, regardless, we're here.
Yeah,
right now.
We're here, and we're about to start the show.
Yes, sir.
Let's start the show. What up, what up, what up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, Chat Chimers, Ghost listeners. Shout out to the radio listeners that I just had to inform to come over to YouTube and watch us.
Yeah, you got to get this. Got to get a look.
The radio channel is not happening today either. So I think, as a matter of fact, when I turned the radio channel on, that's when all the echoes started and all that. So, and yeah, man. So it's all good. But appreciate you guys and appreciate everybody who bears with us. We know this is, we started off with this thing, really trying to be super slick with it, and make it look good, sound good, and all that. But because of you, the importance of us having the conversation just started to reign supreme. So we gonna have it whether or not we on a phone or we passing notes in school or whatever we gonna do. We're gonna have this conversation. It doesn't matter. We'll do the best we can as far as making it enjoyable enough to participate and watch. But it's all about y'all. So I really appreciate that. Pop says, "All right, now it's a well-oiled machine." Okay, cool, cool. I just gotta take my headphone off so I can hear myself. But that's all good.
Get it right.
Anyway, good morning to y'all. And like I said, thanks again for bearing with us. Mamie H. Dot in the house. Y'all, after the senators talked about meeting with the governor last week, I impulse called to see if he would tour NUIHC facility just so the Native community could be on his radar. Nice.
Did he answer? Did you get a response? Is that a go? How's that looking?
It's a really good question. Yep. I got a good morning from Mama God. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, my dudes.
How you doing over there, bud? I didn't get to ask you. You over here holding it down.
Man, I'm all right. Feeling okay. It's kind of I had to extend my fast. Actually, yesterday was supposed to be the last day of Ramadan, and the observance of fast. But I'll be honest, I slipped up one day, so it's a custom that if you get sick or if you for whatever reason that you miss a fast, then again it's 30 days, so you have to make it up.
You've been messing. That's what you get for messing with them crackers.
I slipped up a day.
Messing with them crackers.
It's the water, man.
So just stay away from them crackers, man. Oh, it's the water. Huh? You get
Actually, yeah. I'm kind of an old mad kind of person anyway. Like I'm usually moving around, just getting things done. Usually taking care of the children. A lot of times I feed them lunch, don't even feed myself. Like a lot of times I'm working, so I usually don't eat until I sit down towards the end of the day. Anyway, so the fasting, I'm not really missing food, but it's that drink. It's that water.
Yeah.
The elixir of life.
Get parched.
Yeah, man. So, kind of powering through. But other than that, I'm all right. My spirits are high. A lot of introspection, but a lot of clarity. Kind of coinciding with the spring, man. Feeling some renewed energy. Looking forward to springing forth and seeing what fruits this year will bear. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, man. Feeling optimistic, feeling good. Let us know what's going on in y'all worlds out there. Again, a lot of things going on this summer. Festival season is coming back. Yeah. Kind of back to quote unquote normalcy after COVID. As far as outside events, even last year people were still a little iffy. I mean, even my man Paul B caught COVID last year when we went to Napa Valley. So it was still a thing, man. And I'm still seeing people with masks. Like it's going to be a slight thing, but just the feeling of normalcy and comfortability, I guess you could say, being outside again. I do feel like it's kind of different this year as far as getting back to full swing. So I am looking forward to this season. This summer was kind of festival season, a lot of things going on. Starting to consider and talk about of course Omaha Days coming up. I am looking at coming back for that. So still planning on that. If anybody has any events, any things going on that you want me personally or First Sky Omaha to be there and represent, let us know. But yeah, man, just looking forward to the summer. Feeling good, feeling great. How are
How
you?
are you? Right on, right on. Well, before the senators get here, man, pretty shortly, let's go ahead and jump into a couple things. Oh, Amy H, no dot is in the chat. Says that inspires me. Maybe more of us should be engaging with the governor's office. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
talking
that's the
about
point.
Amy H Dot's move, man. That's what's up. Yeah, give him a call. Let him know. I mean, that's a good idea, just all the way around. He's a brand new governor. I haven't talked to him yet. You know what I mean? Like, this might be a good idea to get to start giving him some calls and telling him about what's really going on out here and give him a chance to come speak and whatnot and all that. So yeah, I'm inspired too. We definitely should do that. We had Ricketts on the show back in the Minus Old days.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we might need to go ahead and get Illin on, Illin Pillin on. I'm gonna call him Illin Pillin when he comes on too. I say, Pillin, you be Illin, right?
Yeah.
You be Illin. But yeah, so it's a good idea, just a good idea to reach out to our local leaders
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
regular basis anyway.
And that's the point. He is a local leader, although we might, have a good time and poking at his antics and his politics. Cameron reminding us there's only one governor. He's all of our representative. He represents the whole state of Nebraska. So, hold him accountable. Let him know
That's
how he can
real.
best represent you.
Word up.
There you go. There you go.
All right,
No,
buddy,
but
what we got on the agenda today?
yeah, man. Let's go ahead and dive into it. We've been kind of talking about it. Again, there's a lot to dive into. Big shout out to Brother Sherman Wells for putting in the work for who he found out to be his cousin, Sister Vivian Strong,
Wow.
who will be getting a street named after her. So we'll kind of dive into exactly what that means. Again, I know some chat chimers have some opinions about that, so I'd love to hear from you. As always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. Also, affordable housing is an ongoing topic here on the show. And this is something a little different, though. This time it isn't a city or a nonprofit that's creating this affordable housing. This is an employer. An employer built an affordable housing unit in Sarpy County is being built with the aim to help recruit and retain workers. So we'll talk about that. I don't know if you remember, but I've been mentioning there's reports about schools building apartments for their teachers and things like that. So the housing issue is definitely reaching a fever pitch. So we'll talk about that situation. Big shout out to our partners over at the Nebraska Examiner. They're getting down, also reporting about handguns and what's going on in the legislature. Again, we will be having the senators on to talk about, again, the carrying of handguns as the final passage to concealed carry does make its way through the legislature. So we'll definitely talk about that and more. But as Paul mentioned, we do have the senators coming on. So I wanted to kick off with this Vivian Strong story. Again, we've been sort of alluding to it for quite some time. Big shout out to my man Sherman Wills, who's been pushing for that. He's had some pushback. I'll say that he's had to jump over some hurdles, but it does look like finally success. Actually, just this Tuesday, the Omaha City Council voted unanimously, actually, to name 21st Street from Clark all the way to Paul Street, Paul Street. It will now be Vivian Strong Street. So again, that's 21st and Clark all the way to 21st and Paul. That will be Vivian Strong Street. If you're not familiar, again, in 1969, Vivian was dancing in a vacant apartment with some other people, and when when police were called to the apartment to check out a possible burglary. Again, this was a party or dancing that was going down in an abandoned apartment, and people thought it was a burglary, I guess. That's according to the report. Dr. Franklin Thompson, who apparently knew Strong and knew of Strong and lived in the area at the time, says they were playing records and dancing and having fun. They weren't drinking, no drugs or anything, just people dancing. And from what Vivian's descendants were told, Vivian and others ran away when police got there. That's when Omaha police officer James Loader shot Vivian in the back of the head, killing her. Sherman Wells says, I think it comes back to the devaluing of Black lives, and that's why it's happening now. And it happened then. Sherman says his grandfather and Vivian's father were actually brothers. So again, making Vivian his distant cousin. Loader was acquitted, leading to 3 days of protests and riots in North Omaha. So also Thompson reminding us of that time. He says also within a year, quite a bit of white flight from the area and from the schools in that area, particularly Tech High, which we've actually talked about some white flight going on in today's times. So very, very interesting as far as the parallels between then and now. Talking about the late '60s and now today. Very, very interesting. You know how history kind of repeats itself. But big shout out. I know some of our chat timers not so happy about this, saying that we celebrate too many symbolic things. But it starts with representation, man. It starts with something. You got to start somewhere, and we got the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, and eventually got Malcolm X on the Hall of Fame, and now we have Omaha Performing Arts holding seminars and talking about Malcolm, and hopefully we'll get some other things going. It starts somewhere to get that snowball rolling, and hopefully it'll be the same with Vivian Strong. Hopefully we can build on top of that. So big shout out.
Yeah, I talked to actually spoke with Brother Sherman Wells a few weeks back when he was telling me that this was going to happen. This is going down, and we talked about him coming onto the show. So we're going to have him on the show and talk about his struggles there. It's his story to tell. But as you can imagine, he got a little pushback. This is a situation where a young lady was shot and killed by the police. So you can imagine that the police doesn't necessarily want to be commemorating a situation where they had shot and killed somebody because of the nature of how she died, how she was killed. So the fact that it happened was kind of touch and go. So me personally, I'm glad to see that it went through. I'm glad to see they kept fighting and kept pushing. I can't wait to have Brother Wells on to tell the story about how that happened and how it went down. But people say that the murder of Vivian Strong was really what set off the way that the 24th Street area, 24th and Lake Street area, North Omaha looks now.
Yeah, man.
Is a direct result of what happened when they rose up because of the protests, because, again, those cops being acquitted. I mean, how many years you can talk about that? It's crazy that happened in the 30s and 40s. It happened a long, long time ago, and it's the same story as, Rodney King. Rodney King getting beaten, those cops being acquitted, or anybody else has been, and then now, and here we are now. And just now, like Derek Chauvin getting put in jail for it. Like, I mean, how many years has this been going on? And there's been cops that are getting off that are just acquitted. So we walking up and down 24th Street now, man. We're in the deuce now, and a lot of what we're seeing is a direct result of the uprisings that happened back then when that went down. So, and we talk about this all the time. It's not looking the same. It's not looking much different over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not looking much different over there. So, you guys in the chat, man, I'm seeing that this is the reason why it's important. I think it's important. We got people even in the chat that are saying, like Miss Kimra Snipes says, I didn't know my auntie knew Vivian Strong. She was telling me stories at our last family reunion. So, this is not a distant thing. This is something that is still affecting our community, and a lot of people know who she is, knew who she was, and as you can see, friends of First Sky Omaha found out their family even. Mm-hmm. So Amy H. Dot says we can celebrate this and want and work for more. It's a yes and. You're right, absolutely. Kimber Snipe says nothing wrong with celebrating what we just need additional steps. Yeah, we all agree on that for sure. Also, Omaha leadership, however we define that, just sucks when it comes to elevating black people, period.
Man.
Brother Knight in the chat, good morning. He says, my mother says Vivian was her best friend. Woo.
Ooh.
She might have been there dancing, and she might have been out there dancing with her,
Man. Actually, I might have to ask her about that. Yeah, I might have to ask her about that.
Yeah. Tony Johnson 12 in the chat, he says, I need to demand more for injustice. Most deaf. Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, but where do you start in that demand? Where does that demand start? And I feel like you got to start by acknowledging it, at least acknowledging the injustice, acknowledging the situation even happened first of all, and then the fact that it was an injustice, and then you can talk about reconciliation. But sometimes we get a hard time even getting the fact that the person lived ever. They try to just sweep it under the rug and forget that it ever happened. So getting a street name, getting the plaque is an acknowledgement.
Absolutely, and I have no doubt that Brother Sherman Wells ain't done. He's not. He's the kind of brother that ain't gonna just stop with the plaque. There's gonna be some more action. So I can't wait to have him on and talk more about it and see what he's got going on, and let him know that we got his back for sure.
Yeah, for those who want to be there for the celebration, the street renaming ceremony is planned for June 16th. And then there is another ceremony for the historical marker, which is planned on July 28th. So again, the street renaming is June 16th, and then the
Okay.
historical marker launching will be July 28th.
Having the street naming on Juneteenth. Okay, that's crazy. That's
Yeah, around there,
significant.
June 16th.
It is. That's Juneteenth. Yeah. Brother Knight says that she was with Vivian that night. She also says they ran her out of town afterwards. Wow. So she was in there dancing with her and hanging out that night. And man, see, that's close to home. That's close to home, bro. That's a chat chimer in here saying my mom's best friend.
Wow. Yeah. You just gave a lot of context to some things. Man. Yeah, that just hit home. That just really, really hit home as far as the situation and how it impacted so many lives, man.
That's crazy.
Man, think about that. Not just her, but the people that were there dancing. How were their lives changed in that instance? Which goes back to another relative of Vivian Strong, LaDonna Strong, who says that it's not a young girl shot by an officer. It's beyond that, which definitely, as Mr. Stewart is saying, a lot of people, it's not just some young girl who's dead and that's it. Like a lot of people's lives, as you see, a whole community has been impacted by that and has not changed. And that continues. Actually, LaDonna says that when she thinks of Vivian's death, she can't help but to think about the shooting of Ralph Yarl to kind of bring it to the present day. The 16-year-old boy who was recently shot in the head in Kansas City after prosecutors say he knocked on the wrong door looking to pick up his cousins from a sleepover, I believe. He was just going to pick up some relatives from a sleepover, knocked on the wrong racist man's door, and the man, rather than seeing what it was, shot him in the head. Fortunately, the young man survived. He is recovering, and that gentleman, the older gentleman, has been apprehended. But yeah, I mean, what's the difference?
Man, it's interesting. Real quick in the chat though, Tony Johnson 12 is saying, we're frustrated. Some of us are frustrated that most things in North Omaha stops after symbolic gesture. I think all of us are frustrated about that, for real. But I also know that it takes, like I said, Brother Sherman Wells is kind of brother that's going to keep on moving. So it's not. It also has to do with us. It also has to do with how much we are fighting and what we're putting in past the gesture. But I totally agree with you though. It can't just be the symbolic gesture. It's important. It needs to be both. It needs to be the symbolic gesture and the action. So for sure. I was just wanted to bring up real quick that this is interesting. It's bringing back this article in my mind. I think I saw something on the news recently and didn't know that there was a law that had to be passed. I think it was in the 60s. I have to go back and see this. But back before this law was passed, the police were legally able to shoot you if you were running away from the scene. So the purpose of them firing at you to stop you from evading them. There was a law that changed over that said that if they thought you were running away and you had a weapon on you or you had something on you, it looked like you were about to hurt somebody or hurt them, or if there was life-threatening situation, that's the only time you could shoot them if they're running away. But before that, shooting somebody in the back just because they're running from the police was totally legal. And I thought, man, this is how crazy this is. They just have all power, and then you go through decades and decades of going in there and trying to tweak this rule and tweak that rule to get to the point where you can have some kind of civilized situation going on. But that tripped me out that it was so close to now that was even a law before, and now they had to do a whole bunch of work to make it so that you had to have a real reason to fire at somebody, not just that you ran away.
Yeah.
So
you got to be in danger.
Yeah, man. So it's just like that. Now you know why the cops probably got acquitted, because why back in them days they're like, well, what are you running from the police for? I told you to stop. You didn't stop. If the police officer tells you to stop and you don't stop, he could shoot you since you didn't stop.
Guilty.
Right. He could shoot you because you didn't comply. So that's what the law had to change. That it's not you can not comply with police and not have to die. and they was doing that to everybody back in the day. You know, when they changed that law and affected white folks more than it affected everybody else.
Oh yeah.
So they were shooting white folks that just, you know what I'm saying? Like they were just. So anyway, it just is a trip to me that even had to be addressed. And then when you think about this situation with Vivian Strong, now you can see why he was acquitted. It wasn't no thing, you know. It was perfect. It was perfectly legal. He told her to stop running. She didn't, and he shot her.
I mean, not to mention qualified immunity. That's a whole nother beast that we don't even have to get into. But yeah, I mean the deck is stacked. The deck is stacked. The dice are loaded. However you want to say it. It's not an even playing field.
Right.
At least have a license to kill, and you don't have to be guilty to be on the short end of that stick.
Right.
So again, yes, symbolic. But it got to start somewhere, and I'm happy it's starting here. And yes, Tony Johnson, we're going to keep that energy, and we're going to keep pushing all the way up to criminal reform and police reform. I mean, that's where it goes. That's where it goes. You start with Vivian Strong Street all the way up to the Vivian Strong Act. That's how it works. And you don't stop till you get there. So we're going to start here, and we're going to keep that ball rolling. But big shout out to Brother Sherman Wells. We will be getting him on. So looking forward to that.
Most def.
Let's keep it moving, man. Yeah, man.
I'm trying to run through the chat real quick, just seeing if we missing anything that we need to be bringing out.
Ahead.
Yeah, I just got a text from Justin Wayne saying he's on the call. He'll get on as soon as he can. So we're still looking forward to. Yeah, Brother Wayne, Brother McKinney. Yep.
So looking forward to the Senators. In the meantime, going through the chat. Anything jumping out?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I suggest everybody go back to the chat and look at the conversation that's going on here. There's definitely conversations going on with you guys in the chat, and which is always good. Chat chambers talking to each other, so appreciate that. Definitely go back and check it out.
I will say I do want to acknowledge Mr. Rick Fulton in the chat says, can I make a comment on Senator Wayne and McKinney, but I don't want to be negative. I'll just say this. The senators are coming on, so you will have the opportunity to just ask them yourself. We don't have to speculate or middleman. If you got anything to say it to them. But rather than you just making a comment now, I'll say this. Take some time to formulate your thoughts and try to say whatever it is that you're trying to say and, articulate whatever you're feeling as respectfully as possible. Might be negative, which, if you have some critique, that's okay. If you're honest about your critique and respectful, they will listen. But let's just try to formulate our thoughts and feelings as positively and respectfully, really, as possible. And then when they come on, feel free to say what it is that you have to say.
There you go. It looks like the chat's talking a lot about that situation in KC with that young man that got shot by the older guy there, and they were talking about the older guy's grandson got on talking. Saying his grandfather got racist, said he had racist tendencies and stuff. He kind of doubled down on can't be acting like this. I didn't see the whole interview, but yeah, it was pretty interesting stuff. But that one really touched a lot of people. It's interesting which shootings touch people. For some reason, this one really touched people, and everybody I know of all races are up in arms about this particular shooting for whatever reason.
It happens, man. I mean, I remember when I went to FAMU. I was there when the brother that wrecked his car. If you remember, I think he was in North Carolina. He was coming home from school for spring break. It was around this time, and he wrecked his car. Just got into an accident. I forget what happened to his vehicle, but it wasn't working. He got out to look for help to ask to use somebody's phone, and ended up getting shot because somebody was afraid. So again, I mean, that's this, in the world of Childish Gambino, this is America.
Man. Another thing, something else that's going on in the chat too is we were talking about, somebody said something about Willie Barney should be running for mayor. There's a little vein going on here too about our black leadership. I did get some messages and some private messages in the last couple of days about Willie. I think it was Willie Barney and Todd Smotter are going to be on CNN talking about the lack of murders and stuff that's been happening. Still talking about the success that they're having with slowing that stuff down. Of course, we have some things that are coming up. As a matter of fact, we'll be talking about them in the HAPs a little bit more. But there's also let's see if I can find. Yeah, this is the thing that we were talking about the other day, the June 9th CHI Health Center Omaha, the 16th annual Rebuilding the Village Conference with Magic Johnson coming. A lot of people in Friends of First Sky Omaha is like, how are you going to have a rally for people who can't afford the ticket? You know what I'm saying? To go see that. I don't really have the answer to those questions except for the fact that I did talk to Willie Barney and he has agreed to come on, so we'll be setting that up with him as soon as possible too. But like I said, I just want to kind of acknowledge this vein here that we're really always talking about black leadership and who's doing what and what people have not done, we want to hold people accountable for what they have done and haven't done. We want to be able to ask questions. We do our best to bring them on so we can talk and ask questions directly. But again, once again, it really is like we're gonna try to do that with respect, and we're also going to do it with this spirit of trying to figure out how we can work together, because there really ain't a whole lot of us. So if there's people that are out here that are trying to do something and trying to lead and do something, and maybe they're not doing everything exactly the way we think it needs to be done, and we need to be giving them some suggestions or coming in and helping with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of options there if we can do it in the spirit of like us getting together. I definitely don't agree with everything that's going on either, and think that more should be done in certain areas. But I also think I should be doing more in certain areas. So, we're gonna hold ourselves and everybody else accountable too, and be able to for the purpose of us getting together to actually get something done, not just for calling folks out. So. That's what it is. Tony Johnson 12 said, I'm being too nice associating with leadership. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if when it's all said and done, this is the black community and these are the black folks that we're dealing with, and this is what we're trying to do, trying to get with them. And if there's some ways that they're doing some things that I don't like, then I'm gonna try to get with them so I can suggest that we do something different. But I don't see the point in just tearing folks down left and right on what it is that they're doing. I just don't see the point. I don't see how that is. I don't see how that will cause any change or make anything or get things effectively moving. That's all I'm saying.
And that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier, as far as trying to focus on what you can control. Because rather you might be right. We could be right. We could be completely right about Willie Barney and whoever else comes up in our conversations, and whatever else people have to say about what somebody is or isn't doing. You could be completely right. My question is, so what? So what? If they're not doing anything, what are you doing? And I'm not alluding or saying anybody's not doing anything, but the focus should be, what can you do? What value can you add? And the world, I guarantee you, if we all focus on that, the world will be a better place. Just naturally, it'll be a better place. Of course, we can hold people accountable, but I do feel like this conversation can get a little past that.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. I mean, not yes and no. Yes, I do feel like I can get past that. I do feel like it has to start with holding people accountable. So, and believe it or not, that's what I'm always trying to figure out how to do. So, but I'm trying to figure out how to do it with respect.
Right.
There's no reason to be disrespectful. There's no reason. We can be upset about what people are doing, but it's the approach that we're talking about here. Is how to.
And not just respect, but I feel like more importantly, productivity. It's not a productive approach. It doesn't, like you're saying, it doesn't get us anywhere. It's not a very productive approach. So we need the respect to be productive, to actually get something out of the conversation, to reach a point of agreement, so we can move. That's what this whole concept of First Sky is. So we can all get to as much of us as possible to a point of agreement and understanding, and then we can move on the same page.
And like I appreciate you guys, Tony Johnson, everybody else that's coming into the chat saying what they're saying, because I am gleaning things from that. I'm trying to pull things from that language, find a way to be able to articulate what it is that we all are thinking and feeling about these things. And there is going to be a lot of times I'm going to be talking to folks and being like, look, people are saying you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. People are calling you gatekeepers. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm hearing. And then you guys help me out by being in the chat, saying, bringing your concerns to the table and so on and so forth. So, and however you do it, you do it. We just want to say that we're trying to get it done in the most productive way, in a way that would allow for something to be able to move and change, for people's minds to be changed if they are in situations where they're receiving funds and gatekeeping and so on and so forth. And maybe we can get them to open the gate. Maybe we can work together some kind of way, in a way that'll be more productive. So yeah, we'll keep on working on that for sure. I don't want to leave our guest in the wings too long. Brother Terrell McKinney is in the house. Bring him in. Good morning, my brother. How you doing, man?
Hey,
I'm all right, man. How y'all doing?
can't
Oh
complain. Can't
man, hanging
complain.
in there, bro. Hanging in there. I'm traveling right now, so I had a little technical difficulties this morning. It was a clown show this morning, but we got it together before you came on. So
Yeah, had to get it together for brothers, get it together for sisters. I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule.
yes,
Before
sir.
we get into the things, I saw you celebrating with your daughter for her birthday, and just how's life, man? How's things going?
That was cool on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday kind of messed up my weekend.
Uh oh,
I had a cousin that passed in prison, so it kind of messed me up.
man,
Oh
So
man.
just been that's what's really been on my mind. So I'm going through the motions, bro.
man. Well, more power to you. Sorry for your loss, bro.
Thank you.
Uh, and I guess that takes us right to it, because we just had an article that we talked about, I believe on Wednesday, about you gearing up to call out for more prison reform. We know that they're going to build more prisons, and actually, I was just talking about down here in Georgia, a young man that passed while he was incarcerated due to deplorable health conditions and things like that. So I guess where does that put you emotionally and mentally as far as your fight for prison reform, as we kind of get into the back half of the sessions?
It puts it at the forefront for me. It's not that it hasn't been. I think the tough part for me, because I think I'm in a unique position.
Hmm.
Um, I know I might be the only one, not the only one, but I'm probably close to the only one in the legislature with family inside of our prisons and dealing with real life issues with
Hmm.
family going to prison, dying in prison, waiting to go to prison. So it and I try not to personalize, what I do in the legislature, because I think it's about the people and about the community.
Mm.
When it comes to this, it's hard for me to not think about those individuals that I really love that's incarcerated, and trying to figure out a way to make the system better. I've been thinking about, like, why is it so hard for us to get change? And one, I think society as a whole has to change its perception of people going to jail and going to prison, because society celebrates people going to jail too much, in my opinion. And I
Mm.
don't care if it's Johnny down the street or Donald Trump. I never celebrate nobody going to jail, because I have too much experience with people going to jail and the effects of going to prison. And not to say people shouldn't be held accountable, I just don't find a thrill in celebrating people getting locked up.
Hmm.
Um, and I think the other thing is, I'm realizing it's hard for people to put themselves in the shoes of somebody that has somebody in prison, or those type of things. So
Hmm.
it's kind of rough for them to see it, and I'm trying to figure out a different strategy, in the sense of, how do I get it to connect and land as effective as possible? Because people say, I understand what you're saying. We know the system is bad, but I'm still gonna vote this other way.
Let me
People,
let me ask you this. We kind of talked about it, and I mentioned that, kind of alluding to what you said. Like you mentioned, you think you're one of the only senators with a relative or relatives or people close to you who are incarcerated. And too many times, just the average person who might not, be connected. you don't think about the prison is just, I don't even know where it is. You don't know where it is. You don't really think about it. So it's not something that's front of mind, or as you say, a real sexy topic per se. Um what sense do you get as far as senators, like how just off base do you think like they just don't get it at all as far as your fellow senators? What are some of the comments you're hearing in the debate? Like how off base are they?
Well, honestly, we haven't had debate about prisons yet, but
Really? Okay.
the conversations we have, it's some that do like, I understand it. I think we need to make some changes, but I still want to build the prison.
Mm.
Then you got the ones that are super cool with, you know, listening to what the cops and the county attorneys are saying. They take their word as like the Bible, pretty much. So you're dealing with those who softly empathize, and then you got those that whatever the cops and county attorneys say, it don't matter. Like legitimately don't matter. They prey on their biggest, deepest fears, and that's what holds a lot of things up.
I mean, yeah, the fear tactics, the scare tactics. We talk about how, you know, especially the Republican agenda is kind of just pushed by fear, and
But
this whole
it's not.
boogeyman,
But
super predator.
I would say one thing though. It's not just Republicans that
Mm.
support building a prison.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats voted to build the prison too. It's not a for me. Both sides are at fault because both sides boosted the mass incarceration in the United States of America, and we gotta like the party thing about this is like, nah, both sides at fault for mass incarceration and the way our criminal justice system operates in America to this day.
Yeah,
So let
bro. I came up in the time of Clinton, man, when it was when the three strikes laws started
man.
up and all that mess, man. That was all Democrat stuff, man.
I
So
mean, Biden, who's the
yeah,
president now, had a part to play in that. And if I'm not mistaken, to
Got
your
a huge
point,
part.
yeah, yeah. And to your point, Senator McKinney, I think Tony Vargas was one of the senators who signed off on this prison bill. So yes, it is both sides. Um, man, kind of lost my question, my follow up question, um, with that. But what types of reforms? Well, first of all, what saying that you haven't even discussed it with the senators on the floor yet? What's the perspective of that happening? What's the prospect looking like?
Um, well, the other day we voted out, a criminal justice bill out of judiciary finally. Um, so hopefully within the next, I would say probably 2 to 3 weeks,
Mm.
we get that bill discussed on the floor and have that real conversation. We've been having meetings with everybody, governor, cops, county attorneys, senators, whoever behind the scenes, just to try to, figure out like what's the path forward.
Mm.
Because the honest truth that nobody has yet to deny is that we could vote to build a prison, but it's going to be overcrowded day one, and it's not going to solve anything. And we still got to get some policy changes across the table, no matter what. Like everybody knows that it's just what the thing I realized is the people who oppose criminal justice reform want you to make them comfortable with the reform, but they don't want to be comfortable stepping outside the box though, and taking
Mm.
that real step and doing some things that, yeah, because honestly speaking, we do got to take some risk, and we do got to take some chances on some changes to see if they work. Because if we just try to be PC about it, I don't think we will ever get to the change we seek. And it's not just about criminal justice reform, which is why the economic recovery stuff is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't decrease poverty and change the conditions in North Omaha, it's still going to be a bunch of people possibly going to prison from our community. So
Yeah,
it's not just criminal justice reform, it's getting the economic recovery to change the conditions of our community. Then we also got to change the educational system in our community, and those type of things as well.
man. I mean, you can build new parks, build new lakes, build new buses. new bus routes, new houses. You can build all the new everything, but if you don't give people a way to eat, then it's not going to do anything.
Right.
So beyond the economic, because we know you're pushing LB 1024, but as far as the just the sheer criminal justice reforms, I'm curious what level do you see that happening? Is it at the police level? Do we have to address the police? Do we have to address just the prison system itself? The parole board, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, we gotta address the police. It's that's
It's
why
all of it.
I like we probably got to we have to reframe the conversation. It's
Mm,
criminal justice reform is like an umbrella, but there's things under it. You got the police, you got sentencing, you got parole, you have juvenile stuff, you got the back end stuff like post release and those type of things.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
it's not one pillar that we gotta attack. It's like multiple, and
Man.
it's hard to attack multiple because you're dealing with different people in each pillar, and you're dealing with different people who are not willing to change or don't see that change is needed.
Okay,
Yeah, I hear
so
that.
I got one last question, and then we can jump into the chat. Big shout out to everybody in the chat letting their mind be free. Because you kind of brought up, and this goes back to what we've been talking about throughout the show with Willie Barney and Chief Schmatter. They were just on CNN, and you said people don't feel like they have to change, and Chief Schmatter and Willie Barney are kind of on this kick that there's no murders in Omaha. Omaha Police Department is like the shining star in national policing. They're the standard for policing. That's the story that's been pushed as we're
Yeah,
having this criminal reform. What do you feel about that? What do you feel about the narrative that they're pushing?
it's BS.
Mm.
It's shootings every week in North Omaha. I hear shootings all the time. Just because people might not be dying as much, it don't mean people ain't getting shot at. And I'm looking at I shouldn't have looked at the chat, but I looked at and like people talking about the gun bill. Well, the police came down 2 years, 3 years in a row saying they didn't want the gun bill to pass because they want to use the ordinances, city ordinances, as a tool to target people in North Omaha. The chief testified that if the bill passed, the disproportionate amount of arrest of black people will likely decrease.
Mm.
I didn't support the bill in the end. One, because they attached the cop amendment, and two, I was always 50-50 about the bill as a whole. I saw some good and I saw some bad in it. No, I don't want shootouts in North Omaha, but the reality is there's shootouts in North Omaha with the ordinances. Um, you know, people was like, "Oh, why wasn't you and Senator Wayne there?" We was actually in Omaha for a meeting that was planned way before we even knew that bill was going to be on the agenda the next day.
Mm.
And the meeting was about criminal justice reform, trying to get some changes. So, and I wasn't going to miss that meeting. I didn't care about the bill enough to even drive down fast enough. I care way more about criminal justice reform and getting some things done. And also, they had the votes with me being there or me not being there. That's the reality.
So let me just reiterate, just back up a little bit on that. So first of all, I was under the impression that you voted for that LB 77. So you're saying that ultimately you did not because they threw something on there at the end.
Well, they did an amendment for OPOA that I really didn't like. In its original form, yes, I did like the bill, mainly because it would eliminate the city ordinances that allowed the cops to target black people. But I didn't. I think I was present. I voted on select file, and I wasn't even there on final at all.
Okay. So like you said, whether you voted or not, it didn't matter. They already had the votes
Yeah.
votes for that.
People
Okay.
to learn how to count votes.
Yeah. Josh Tague in the chat says LB 77 seems to be more of a new way for police to have immunity from shooting anyone they think may be armed. We go back and forth about this on the show. A lot of the chat chimers are, we talk about what it could do, what it could mean for black folks, for young kids getting pulled over and so on and so forth. And so, I mean, it's neither here nor there now. The bill is moving, and what do you think this going to mean for first of all, what's it going to mean for
My thing is
people getting pulled over and put in jail?
being black and pulled over. What happens? let's be honest here. They hop out the car with their guns already, right?
Jump out, boys. Yep.
Yeah, jump out, boys. Literally,
They
I've
already jittery with it.
experienced it.
We're like, that's like people like preying on your fears. Like your fear is already the reality. They already fidgety with black people. They
Right.
already hop out the car with the gun out. Like that. I don't view the bill passing or not passing as changing the reality of being black and getting pulled over by police. Just being completely honest.
Yeah. Wanda Lewis in the chat says the fear is that police will shoot to kill regardless of the gun bill. You heard what Aaron Hansen said. If the police feel threatened, like you said, they're already doing that. What I understand about the bill too is that if you gotta, so if somebody has a gun under the seat or in a glove box or something like that, then they would get arrested for concealed carry before this law now make it so that that's not an arrestable offense. Is that what I'm understanding about that?
Yeah, and contrary to like people saying like, oh, a bunch of people just gonna go out and get guns, like you still got to go through a background check through the FBI. You can't be a felon to have a gun. Like the reality is, the people who shouldn't have a gun probably already gonna have a gun anyway. But let's just be clear about that. It doesn't, and also if you want to travel out of the state with a firearm, you got to get a permit.
So even with this bill, if you want to leave the state with it, you still have to get a permit.
Wanda Lewis said, Don Klein said there are many people incarcerated due to concealed weapons. What will happen to those people? Are they going to retro this thing so they can let people out?
No.
I mean,
doubt that.
We already know the answer to that question.
Right. Highly doubt that.
Yeah.
But I guess to your point, as far as the nuance of why you would have supported it, that's again what you're saying is to address that is the number of people that would have been incarcerated due to concealed weapon charges.
There's a whole Omaha World Herald article saying when they changed the gun laws in like 09 or 11, it boosted the prison population, and almost 90+% of those people came from North Omaha.
So it's one of the basically it's a predatory law.
Yes.
Because let's be honest, we know that there's a lot of guns around. This is Nebraska. A lot of hunting permits. A lot of I've seen several rifles in the back of pickup trucks. I'll just say that.
And also, like, if the police would have really care about North Omaha, initially they tried to get the constitutional carry for every county in the state of Nebraska, except for Lancaster and Douglas, the counties with the biggest black and minority populations. They're gonna have all of white Nebraska toting constitutional carry, no permit, and black and Latino and Native American Nebraska and majority of Lincoln and Omaha, we're not going to be able to. What does that tell you? Like, think about it. They were cool with pretty much all of white Nebraska being able to do this, but black Nebraska, no. So they don't really care about us, and they could get on CNN and act like they care all they want. The chief of police helped stop criminal justice reform last year, and he know it.
I'm glad you brought up. I was going to jump into that gun question next, so I'm glad you clarified some of those things and brought that back up. Jumping back a little bit though to what we were talking about before about prison reform. Tony Johnson 12 in the chat a little earlier said we know where McKinney is on this. Where's the community groups at on it? Listen to meetings, very little talking about it. I noticed that myself. I know that you probably noticed that too, Brother McKinney, and you were alluding to that earlier, saying that you're trying to figure out how to make the connection. People who even have family members and stuff in jail are not really making this connection or not caring about it as much. So how can we continue that conversation to get to some action items on what to do there?
That is a tough question. I've been frank with a lot of, what do you call them, leaders or whatever in the community, saying, hey, it's cool y'all come down for voting rights, money, but y'all don't show up for criminal justice reform. And I've told them directly, like, I don't find that acceptable. Y'all hold all these meetings about what's going on with the money hold a big meeting about criminal justice reform and what we could do to organize about that. You organize about everything that you feel comfortable with, but it don't seem like even our community is as comfortable with criminal justice reform. And we just got to be honest about that. But a lot of the people, majority of the people in prison are from our community, but we only care about voting matters to people that are in prison. There's a bill to eliminate the waiting period. That's criminal justice reform. You like there's a bunch of things and it don't for me the energy isn't there and I don't respect it because it's easy for people to pile up and come ask for money. It should but also be easy to pile up and fight for change in the criminal justice system that if you're black, you know somebody in jail or prison or you have. Like that's just honest truth.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was thinking about, man, you guys when you guys had that town hall meeting over there at the Highlander, and that was the most black folks I've seen gathered together to find out what was going on with this 1024 bill and everything else. I kept looking at your face, thinking he's probably sitting there thinking, why can't we get a room like this full of people on some other stuff? You know what I mean? That are this fired up, especially that are this fired up about it, got their opinions and got their,
Yeah.
speaking and standing up speaking and so on and so forth. Like, I love how you frame this. We do need that economic development in order to. It's we need both. We need the whole. You can't just have you have to have some kind of economic development going on as well in order for poverty levels to drop, crime to drop, and so on and so forth. But there's some things that can happen more directly that if we all got together on it, you know, then we'd be better off. We're having an ongoing talk
Hello.
right now about black leadership.
Hello. That's my thoughts.
We've spoken already a little bit about Empowerment Network and Schmatter going on CNN. Um, Tony Johnson 12 in the chat says police meeting with the Empowerment Network weekly for 15 years, and we are where we are today.
Mm.
We are going to. I've spoken to Brother Willie Barney. I know that he's been a part of trying to help the 1024 situation as well. He was there at that meeting I just spoke of, that town hall at the Highlander. Um, but there's a lot of people, a lot of chat chimers that are questioning exactly what's happening there, exactly the effectiveness of the Empowerment Network. And we're gonna, like I said, you know us, we're gonna have them on and speak face to face like men about it. But I would like to get your thoughts and your opinion just on kind of black leadership in general. You already mentioned that CNN thing that they went and did was BS. People getting shot, people getting shot at and stabbed. There's been a couple of stabbings in the hood lately. Stuff been going on like that, even though ain't nobody dying. Right this minute, but that doesn't mean that the situations has changed. What do you feel about what the so quote unquote leadership could be doing differently or better, or if they're being effective at all, or if you're seeing something that we're not seeing that the Empowerment Network has been doing and so on? What can you say to that?
Um, I try not to criticize leadership, especially black people in leadership, because I know it's tough. But I will say that you know we need more people in leadership to get in the streets and do the work like Kasim and Sherman and all them be doing. Because those are the ones I know that are really in it, in the thick of it, and in the trenches, and are preventing youth from having guns and engaging with them and those type of things. That's the type of work we need. It can't, and I know there's a place and a position for everybody, but I don't think if you're truly connected to the community that you get up and say that we decrease this type of like it's shootings all the time. Then to say the flip side of like saying like oh we've decreased crime or whatever, also say we put more black people in jail.
Mm,
One of the chat
mm.
termers alluded to that. All that
Say
talk
that say
about
that too.
murders, no talk about the second most overcrowded prison system in the country. No
Mm.
mention about that.
But it's not even just people going for murders. It's just black people just being targeted because of like the practices of police.
Man, parking tickets, everything.
It's so much, and that's what we got to be honest about. Like, yeah, in 10 years, in the last 10 years, probably more black people than ever probably went into the Nebraska state prison system. Is that something to be proud of?
Man.
Man,
They
Terry
leaving
Crawford
it.
in the chat saying it might get worse. She says, "Good morning, First Guy fam. Matt Cool, city attorney, stated any pending court cases for concealed carry will be dismissed." She says it's the setup before the floodgates open for mass incarceration in our community. It's a
We
sad day for Black Nebraska.
we already got mass incarceration in our community, and a lot of people that get in trouble for the concealed carry aren't illegal carriers. It's just because they improperly stored their firearms. They don't. They out here committing crimes. Like county attorneys, city attorneys, and police only tell a one-sided point of view. They need to tell the full story and try to prey on people's fears. I don't think the floodgates are going to open. The floodgates have been open on Black people in America and in Nebraska.
Come on,
There you
man.
go. There you go.
Appreciate you, man. It's 8:10 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, for those of you just joining us, we're with Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name. He's taking out his time on his day off. It sounds like from what Brianna Full said. Is this a day you can go back and get some sleep when you get down here?
No, I got a meeting right after this.
Okay. Yeah, you always grinding. But if you're just joining us, he's with us, and we're talking about some of these issues, some of the things that we've been talking about here for the past couple of weeks, too, the Black leadership situation. He also spoke a little bit on LB 77 and what's going on there. We talked about prison and gun culture, the things that's going on. And also, what's been going on with the economic situation, too. We've been following 1024, 531, and trying to see how things are going to go there for bringing in those millions of dollars to the Black community. Josh Tag in the chat is saying, Senator McKinney, what are good organizations citizens can get involved with to help with reform, to help incarcerated individuals? I agree there is just not enough support out there, and it's sad. You got any top of mind that you think is doing some good work? I mean, we could say the BAA for sure, Brother Kasim and them, like you were saying.
There's a few. I mean, it's a group, Nebraskans for Prison Reform. You got Black Men United, ACLU, Rise, Reconnect. Who else? It's some other ones out there too. But I don't know. It's like the unsexy topic though. Like,
yeah.
You go to any of those group meetings, you're probably gonna see the same people who was at the other one.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Paul
just a
Philman.
cluster.
Yeah. It's man, you gotta be sitting here thinking. I got this weird theory. I'm gonna throw it on y'all real quick. We're going. It's a little left, but stay with me.
Okay.
The when I'm in the media and I'm into I studied media. I'm into screenplay writing, fictional writing, movies and TV. They talk about how TV, right in your book when you're studying this in school, they talk about how the message is supposed to be written for what they call the lowest common denominator. That's everybody. That's all the common people. That's all the common man. And the way that they phrase that, the way that they show that, is by giving you examples of shows and TV shows and stuff that's out there that basically is propaganda. And I'm mad that I studied it, because now I can't watch TV and just enjoy myself. Everything I'm seeing so much. I'm seeing rhetoric and propaganda every time I turn the TV. All the cop shows that are out there all the time, from the live cop shows, from Bad Boys, and all that, all the way up to like Law and Order, Dick Wolf, and all that. They are always demonizing the people that go to jail. They're always raising up to the heavens the cops and the criminal justice system and the law as if it's not flawed. And I kind of feel a little bit like because we've been so indoctrinated by all that rhetoric for so many years, cop shows is a whole genre on TV that's been going on since forever. And because we have internalized this idea that anybody going to jail probably deserves it. Anybody going to jail is an element other than us, and all these things that contributed to it. Because you're right, I can't understand. I know people that got 2 or 3 people in jail and dads in jail, and that has caused their family to lose so much money, and you know what I'm saying, like all these things are happening, but they're not pushing for any kind of movement and change. So I don't know what it is either, but I love the fact that you were on that tip, and we can keep on talking about and trying to figure out, how to change the narrative of what's going on with people, with incarcerated people. What's going on with people being put? Why are most of us getting put in jail the way they are? The majority of the jail is full of people of color. Like, what is that all about? How is it that we, as a city and as a people, who can change these things, who can go in here and change laws in order for these things not to be happening, like they do in other states?
It's the Holocaust, bro. It's the Holocaust. It's not like a Holocaust. What you're explaining is the Holocaust directly, and people are dying, literally. That's what this is. And if you look at the history of it, the law just got changed in Nebraska. Prisons are plantations. Prisoners are slaves, literally. It's not they are like slaves. They're being treated. It's not a simile. It is a one-for-one, apples-to-apples comparison. This is the modern slave trade. That's what it is. And all of those, Senator Vargas, all of the senators that just voted to build another plantation are complicit. That's literally, I really can't explain it anymore. We are literally modern day abolitionists. That's the conversation that we're having. These people are slaves. They're being worked. They're working and not being paid and being treated like crap. I mean, I don't know how more I can explain it, how more clearly I can lay it out what we're talking about, people. Modern day slavery is what it is.
And there's a threat of that happening to all of us at any point. That's the killer. The killer is, nobody's safe from that. And then also the killer for me is our community. Our community seems to be halfway okay with it.
And people, if I was back then, I wouldn't be no slave. Okay.
Let me jump into the chat real quick again, man. Buddy, calm down.
Man, it just because, like, think about it. How much have things really changed?
No, some things are getting worse, man. Some things are getting worse. Brother Terrell, we going yeah, we're going all up.
Thank you for the work that you do, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, and think about this for a second while I jump into the chat real quick. Just think like I'm gonna come back and be like, what's the moves, man? What can we do? What's the next steps? What should we be looking at next? What would be ideal to get a room full of people on this subject? Think about that for a second. I'm just gonna jump into brother. I see Brother Jazari Kawal in the house. Good morning. He says, Senator, what do you think the solution is? It doesn't seem like your colleagues are working towards criminal justice reform for people of color. So what's next? Those are the things we've kind of been talking about. It. Also, Sarah Phelps says, sincere question, are there any black folks or people of color in authority on our prison system? It's a good question. I'd like to know that for sure. Tony Johnson 12 said, most groups that you're talking about, Rise, Omaha, and everybody else, are struggling to get financial support. Very true. Wanda Lewis is got some good information here. She says felonies will be attached to many people that they don't want to own guns, to where the new gun bill won't matter. A lot of people will still get charged for even having the gun. That's what he was saying. He was saying certain things can happen in white Omaha that can't happen in black Omaha. That's been going back a long time for sure. Yep.
I would say, first to Jazari, we working on it. We've been having those conversations, and hopefully by the time the bill gets to the floor and we have that debate, we can have a really substantive debate about it. It was a bunch. As far as like people getting attached for more felonies, I guess maybe I just live in a reality that the system is already trying to screw us, so that's not going to change. That's my point of view of it. With or without that bill, they was trying to attach felonies to black people to lock them up. That's just how I look at it. I don't see it increasing. I don't see a change. Black people still going to prison. I don't know. Like, I'm just be honest. Like, the reality is black people are targeted way more than anybody. Like, so for me, it's hard to what's new in my head. As far as black people working in the system, they just hired a black man from Illinois to be the new director of the Department of Punitive Services in the state of Nebraska. They the head, the chair of the parole board is black, Rosalind Cotton, and the guy that they brought from Illinois, his name is Rob Jeffries. It's some other people in the system too.
You see them doing? Are they? I mean, they're working in the systems, but do you see them trying to make any kind of difference there?
Well, he's new. He did some things in Illinois, some reform things, some. So I'm trying to stay optimistic about it. I really, as Buddy was saying, basically prison is a slave plantation. So I ain't supportive of any overseers like that. Um, as far as the parole board, she been there for a while. We've had a decent conversation. She in our conversation seemed like she, trying to do the right thing, but the parole board is horrible in the state of Nebraska. So that's
You've been doing a lot of work on that front too, man. We only got a few more days in the session. Is it any of this stuff going to get to debate?
yeah. I mean 531 to come up. Hopefully this criminal justice bill will come up in the next few weeks. So we'll see. I don't know. We're gonna be debating the budget in a little bit for a minute. So it's yeah, it'll come up. I don't know when exactly though.
Yeah. Okay. What can we do, man? What's next? Where can we direct our efforts?
Um, I would say just keep bringing up criminal justice reform and the need for it. They're gonna try to pass this budget with the construction of a prison inside of it, and we need just as many people that want to line up and ask for money to line up and say, "Hey, hold on, we need some policy changes."
Yeah.
I don't support the prison, and I know a lot of people like, but NSP look bad. But the reality is, they try to say NSP is like 100 and some years old, but most of those buildings were built in the 80s. The Department of Punitive Services deferred the maintenance on majority of those buildings, in my opinion, to justify the construction of a new prison.
Mm,
Uh, I'm open to something being constructed, but my view of it is build workforce housing, build substance treatments facilities, mental health facilities, those type of things. Let's build, buildings where we could get people skills and get them ready for life after prison. That's if you're gonna build something, that's what I want to see. But just building another prison complex is not ever gonna sit well with me.
More
I hear you.
beds. More beds.
Well, we was just about to let you go, but lo and behold, your partner in crime just came on through, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Justin Wayne. How you doing, bro?
In Miami, ain't he?
You
Can
in
you?
Miami?
I don't think he can see us yet. Can you see?
Hey, I'm at,
Hey, hey.
I'm at the airport and it's probably loud, but I just wanted y'all to say I was thinking about y'all and I just wanted I got stuck in Atlanta for the night, man, and now I'm heading to Miami. But I appreciate all y'all and
You was in Atlanta, man.
man, bro, I got in at 1 o'clock last night. I got a 6 hour delay.
Oh man. Okay. Safe
Yeah,
travels. Safe travels.
yeah. So
Uh.
I was making sure Terrell was holding it down. I'm watching, but y'all keep it going.
Okay. Okay. If you don't mind us asking real quick, what's going on in Miami?
Actually, I'm presenting at a criminal justice reform, and then I'm doing something on Second Look. But Terrell introduced that bill. I think they got us confused. They thought there was only one black person in Omaha, and so
Yeah, we get that. Is black people out there? There's more than
so
one of y'all.
yeah, I'm at to tell them that I wasn't the one who introduced it, but I take the trip.
Okay. Doing the work. Safe travels. Safe travels.
All
Thanks for
right, y'all
tuning
be
in.
good, man. I just don't
You
want
too.
to like stand y'all up. Y'all be good.
All right, peace, bro.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, I'm glad he came on through, man. See what was happening. That's cool on the trial
Yeah, man.
and on that criminal justice reform, bro. Still,
Doing the work. I'm saying. It don't stop. It
Yeah.
don't stop, man.
That's really real. Well, bro, we're not gonna hold you up more. I know you got a meeting coming up too, man, and also take some time for yourself, bro. You can't just keep on rolling and rolling.
I will, man.
My condolences to your family. I did see your post where you said that happened, and it wasn't no fun to have to go tell your other family members about your family member passing away in prison there, man. So condolences to you and the family, and we got your back on this fight, bro. There's got to be some changes. There can't be so many of us in there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and thank y'all. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your families, and have some fun.
You do the same.
I know, man. Peace. There you have it, man. Brother Terrell McKinney doing the work as always. I know that the echo didn't just come back.
Yeah, that was me. I got it.
Oh
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah,
man?
yeah. Let's just go ahead and cut the break.
Okay.
It was me, y'all. It was me. Don't go nowhere.
Stay tuned. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Welcome back. Still echoey.
My bad.
How about now? Check 1 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was you.
Yeah, it was me. I'm the culprit.
Oh man,
Yes, it's
you
mixed minus. Trying to.
got me over here. My head smoking. Man, could have been hearing myself. Anyway, welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B. the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd. It was going down. I am out of town in the void right now. That's why you're seeing my background all different. Kind of doing a little bit of traveling. I'll probably get back in town Saturday, hopefully. Yeah, man. So just appreciate you. Right on, Pops. Appreciate you. Thanks for everybody that is in the chat, man. There was some great questions today. Some great engagement. Really appreciate you asking the questions and also showing the brother some love. I didn't get a chance to read that to him, but I encourage him to go back and check your comments out in the chat. Just showing him some love about the work that he's doing. Because yeah, man, brother's fighting a good fight, man. And they doing it by themselves, and that's kind of really tough. So yeah, just got to keep on trying to encourage them. I'm glad we got some words about what's going on in the legislature, what's going on with the bills. Words of encouragement about the things we need to be looking out for more than anything. We're definitely going to do that. Season 6 is probably going to be a lot about that.
Man.
Boots on the ground, teaming up with folks, and jumping on some things that we're focusing on. And as you can see, prison justice reform is definitely one of those things that needs to be focused on big time, because for every dollar that's not spent in our neighborhoods to try to better something, $2 is spent on a new prison. So.
Yeah, man.
And Buddy. If you missed it, Brooke, good morning. You missed Buddy. You missed Buddy going off a little bit earlier about the Black Holocaust that's going on that we call the jail and the prison system,
right under our noses.
We incarcerate members of our family and everything else. So it's a messed up situation. I remember being scared about a family member that might be going to jail for something, and he probably shouldn't have did it, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as the thought that you have about what can happen to you when you get into that system.
Man,
and that shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And that's for and Brother Knight and everybody else who's talking about that. That goes for people who have actually made a bad decision. That's what we're really talking about. We're all starting from home to try to keep ourselves and our families from making bad decisions. Yes, but if they do make a bad decision, or sometimes if they're not even making a bad decision, they accused of making a bad decision, and they got to go into the system. The system still needs to be fixed, whether we need to fix ourselves or not. So does the system. Tony Johnson 12 said, yes, it's possible to love someone, something, and be critical. For sure. Yeah, that's what it's. I mean, it's got to be that. It has to be that. Matter of fact, you don't even care to be critical if you don't have love in the first place. You don't care about it. So I'm down for that. I'm down for us to be critical about all these things, to really have some good conversations. But again, remember, the reason why you're being critical in the first place is because you care about it. Man. So, it starts from love to do that, and then when you remember that, then the style of criticism you can think of different ways to approach it. Yeah. Zane says he miss you, Uncle Paul. Miss you too, buddy.
Hey, the dude.
Yeah, good morning to you, and I'll see you soon. I'll be back probably Saturday. I'll be back in town. Looks like. Trying to avoid some of these thunderstorms and tornadoes going on here on this drive.
Man, be careful.
Man, trying to hang out a little bit till I see if the coast is clear. What's going on? Tony Johnson 12 says, not under noses, just kept conversation in city meetings where no one attends or reads minutes. Guess what? We have partnered up with an organization called the Documenters Program that's there to do just that. Sit there, document, write notes, come back, report. That is more boots on ground work that's being done there. So if you guys don't know, we'll keep on having the documenters on every Monday, on News Monday, so you can get to know who they are and get to know what they're doing. You might find it in your heart to pull out a couple bucks and support that effort too, because that's how we're going to get into these city meetings. That's how we're going to get into these conversations. That's how we're going to know what they're talking about behind closed doors, is by having more boots on the ground. And documenters are some of the gangsters of news right now. So I'm proud that they're our partners, and we're going to work more with them and help them get more resources and help them get more people in them seats. Especially the meetings that they have behind closed doors, which is a lot in Omaha. A lot of meetings behind closed doors in Omaha. So it's what it is. Yep. 8:32 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. What's on your mind, buddy? What you over there thinking about?
Man, just trying to, wrap my mind around all of this, man. It is a lot. And also some kind of background things happening. But yeah, man. Yeah. It's a lot. And kind of where my mind is, we're as we wrap up this criminal justice, conversation and, talk about perspective, how we look at not just the system, but those in the system. My mind goes to the Khalif Browders of the world. You know what I mean? Not we're talking about the people that did make bad decisions, but you kind of mentioned it. What about the people that didn't do anything, that were accused of doing something and still waiting on there's people waiting years to go on trial. There are people waiting years to defend their innocence. There are people waiting years who have not been convicted of anything. They have not done anything wrong except for be accused. That's all they did. There are people who have not been convicted in the court of law, have not seen a judge, have not heard people don't even know what they're arrested for, have not heard their charges, just in holding for years. So yes, the system is broken, and we need to kind of adjust how we look at, how we look at it.
Yeah. With that, thank you again for all of your comments and everything that we're talking about here, the direction that we're going on these subjects. Hopefully it'll spur some stuff. I'm thinking, like I say, season 6 will be a lot about movement, action, feet on the ground, gathering up with people and garnering some support for certain things. And this is definitely going to be one of the things that we support. This is going to be a very, very big one. This is a big one. As you can see, these brothers in there fighting for a whole bunch of stuff, but the main thing they in there fighting for here and abroad is prison reform. It's easy to just call it prison reform, but it's way more than that. It's the economics of our neighborhoods. It's the criminal justice system. It's the incarceration system. It's the overcrowding, unsafe conditions. It's the laws that are being passed right now that would criminalize just being black.
Yeah.
for a whole bunch of different reasons. There's a whole lot to this. There's the parole. You done your time, now you're out on parole, but you can't get parole because the parole board hardly shows up. There's so many aspects, and one of the aspects that we Josh Tagg asked us about this earlier. Other organizations and stuff that are doing good work. The reentry program at Metropolitan Community College does good work for people that are coming back into the society. They put them. They have a program that they can start while they're in jail that'll help them transition well. We're going to be doing some recording, some video documentation of that here pretty soon. And that's one of the organizations you can help support because what's going to happen when they come out of jail too. What's going to happen? A lot of people go back in. You hear this word recidivism, and that's you get out of jail. And then you don't have a whole bunch of choices. You don't have a whole bunch of resources, and you end up back in a bad situation and go back to jail. That's recidivism. So how do you stop that? Well, first of all, you have to put some thought into what can we give these people? What can we help people with when they get out? Finding work, getting set up with their family in the first place. Sometimes people need a little bit of loot. It's just basic resources. And skills. There's people that are getting out that went in before the internet. They got to come out and learn everything. So there's a lot of stuff like Arrows 402. Thank you. Compassion in action. Have some compassion for these people. They're gonna be living next door to you. Don't you want them to have some skills and some reason to be a responsible citizen? If they coming back home, living next door, or coming back to your house. Your kids, that you're a kid of yours that went to jail, or a father of yours that went to jail, or something like that, they coming back to your house. Don't you want them to have some skills and some help? Don't your family need support for that? So we say prison reform, we talk about a whole gamut of things, man. It's not just going to jail because you did something bad, like how some people want to make it that simple. You broke the law, you need to go to jail, and then whatever happens to you, you hear a lot of this rhetoric. Put them under the jail.
Oh yeah.
Throw away the key.
It's too easy to just. It's too easy to just forget. It's too easy to just throw them away and forget. But a couple of chat chimers reminding us that we have people that we can't forget about. I mean, we shouldn't forget about any of the prisoners, but especially the likes of Ernest Jackson and Poindexter.
Yeah, Poindexter.
Poindexter.
Right. Yeah, man, and many others that are in there that need to, there's a reason why there's an innocence project going on in this country.
Right.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of people's cases they're looking at.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to start. I mean, not to mention, I'm in Colorado right now, which has got me thinking a lot about California and these cannabis laws. And not to mention, there's people sitting in there for stuff that in other places is legal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's legal. Von Chapman in the chat, good morning on Facebook. He says, "How about giving them a scholarship through Johnny Rogers' JET program to reduce recidivism?" They do. Tim Clark is part of giving that out. Johnny Rogers has given over $1 million out already, and they're directly connected to Metropolitan Community College reentry program. So sometimes they do win scholarships to go to school. Somebody else asked where they living when they get out. Tony Johnson 12, where they living when they get out? It's a good question. Some people need housing.
On the street.
Right. Amy H. No Dot says we've lost our respect for humanity.
Man, I think we just lost our humanity. Period.
Yeah, and something else to say about that, Amy, is there's some groups that didn't believe some groups were human in the first place, so it wasn't nothing to lose. They didn't think they was human in the first place. Rick Fulton,
that doctrine of discovery. That's savages that need to be civilized. That's what that mentality is.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. We never got back to that. Pope denouncing the doctrine.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that. Rick Fulton says, giving tax credits to wealthy parents so little Johnny can go to Creighton Prep doesn't help North Omaha schools. It's true. Very, very true. So anyway, yeah, there's, like I said, lots. When we talk about any of these things, that's what I think. It always comes down to that kind of stuff for me. It all comes down to humanity and basic humanity and people. None of us want some crazy acting criminals around us threatening our homes and families and kids and everything else. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to give anybody a pass for things that are happening. But look, there's a lot of stuff that's getting out of control. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has been out of control, I should say. and it just needs some oversight.
Yeah.
The Tony Justice 12, the Highlander Empowerment should allocate some housing projects to house reentry participants. That's a great idea.
That is a good idea. But actually, it's about it's about 20 minutes left in the show. So speaking of that, shout out to Tony Johnson reminding me we do have some other articles to get into. I do want to jump into this housing article.
Yeah.
And then in this next 10 minutes or so, let's do a lightning round and then kind of wrap up with some haps. It is Friday. So we can continue with this conversation, all weekend if we wanted to, man. Big shout out to everybody for adding to the conversation as always. Chat Chambers, we appreciate you really quickly because I enjoy this comment. Mayor Sanchez in the chat says, Dharma is how you treat the earth. Karma is how you treat humans. Breaking us down again with the Eastern wisdom. Again, Dharma is how you treat the earth. Karma is how you treat humans. So, let's treat all things with respect. And lo and behold, we should be getting that in return. So I definitely appreciate all the chat chimers. And let's jump into a quick lightning round before we get into some haps and get on the body here as we try to respect everybody's time, talking about, how you treat humans. And I definitely want to talk about how this company is treating their employees, because this is maybe a format or a formula that others should be following. I don't know. We'll talk about it again. Housing, especially affordable housing, a hot topic, a definitely ongoing conversation that we have here on this show, and different companies are approaching it in their own ways. This employer in Sarpy County is apparently building housing to recruit and retain workers. Again, yes, this is not some private developer. This isn't some public nonprofit agency or some government elected officials. This is a for-profit employer. This is a corporation building housing for their employees. Plaque is among the first wave of 15 Streck employees. Again, the company Streck is building a new apartment building called The Nest. The apartment building is an 84-unit affordable housing complex that leaders built as a way to have an edge in talent recruitment and retention. Streck is the company, and again, Streck leaders call the $15 million building Nest project affordable, not because it was built with public funding or linked to a government subsidy, because in fact it was not, but because they have pledged to discount rents for employees. Officials say that such innovative ways to provide housing at affordable rates will have to become more of a norm in Nebraska if it is to tackle a problem that many say is hampering economic growth in communities across the state. One employee said that he's seen other examples of employers creating similar housing options for their workers, including Cabela's, who's involved with construction in Sidney, Nebraska. Housing is only part of the solution to attracting and keeping workers, adding that some towns count challenges in obtaining childcare and transportation as key reasons jobs go unfulfilled as well. So the CEO of Streck, Connie Ryan started to focus on Nest housing back in 2021. She said that she knew that expansion of the company, which develops, manufactures, and package label products, will require more employees, not only using hiring, getting more competitive. The company's operations are based in Sarpy County, which has some of the priciest housing in the state. So again, a way for some companies is building their own housing. I'm not saying. Here it is. One employer says that says that she pays $570 for her studio apartment. There's also a pool that's being under construction there. And there's also 2-bedroom apartments that they have available for about $1,100 in rent. So very, very interesting situation. And I think we're going to
sounds like that's market prices. What are they talking about?
Well, about $570 for a studio. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, $1,100 for a 2-bedroom. That's about market out here right now. I'm skeptical about this. Brother Knight says, sounds like an idea for my book. We'll work in acquiring and retaining talent. Those are some good points, yeah. But I'm a little skeptical, man. I don't know. It harkens back to well, first of all, why don't they just pay you a living wage so you can go get your own house? I mean, number one.
Let's start there. Yeah. Just to start there.
Although I will say some of these jobs probably wouldn't. I guess a lot of the jobs will not be high paying, high intensity jobs. So what do you do for workers that are in jobs that are not high paid jobs?
Yeah. Again, this is a manufacturing company. They produce package labels. Or they packages lab. It says manufactures and packages lab products. Excuse me, that's what they mean.
China in places. There's some places like in China, places like in Mexico, in Russia as well. They have company housing, and these people work 12 hours a day and then go sleep in these bunks and then come back. And I know that's not what they're talking about here, but it's still. And you said something earlier too. This is not a commercial company. This is. I forgot the rundown you said, but I thought to myself, no, this is.
I would say it's not a nonprofit. It's not a government. There's no government connection. There's no philanthropy. This is a for-profit company building housing for their employees.
Yeah, and also as a revenue stream.
And that's kind of where my mind is with this. It doesn't really lay it out in detail in this article, but like, how does that work? Are they given a stipend? Is a portion of the rent taken out of their check? Are they? I'm not sure how that works, so I am a little curious about that.
I'm speculating, but I would imagine number one, they feel like they can pay a person less because they provided this housing. Second of all, it don't sound like it's not like they're providing free housing. They still got to pay the rent. So and the rent is if not market price, close to market price, which means that they have started a side hustle, a side company to have some real estate and to rent out some housing. They just have a specialized market they're gonna rent it out to, but they're not taking no hit on that housing.
So you think that's a conflict of interest?
No, I think it's a shrewd move. Think about it. First Sky Omaha was we get a whole bunch of reporters trained, and we can only really pay them a little bit of wage, but we got some property here. We're gonna build something on it, and we're gonna give them a little bit of cheaper rent, and you can go stay here. And that's the people in the Sevens housing. But now we got a whole nother business to manage. We got to manage our rental holdings, because that has to make sense. If our employees don't move in there, then we in a little bit of trouble if we got an apartment complex ready for them.
Yeah, and I feel like although it's seemingly like a new thing, like this is where it's going, I feel like it's where it's been. I mean, you think about cities like Detroit. I mean, think about Omaha. Omaha is the meatpacking plants. Like, I'm sure a lot of the original housing here was built for people working for the meatpacking companies. Look at Detroit. That is the house that Pontiac and Chrysler built.
Look, my great grandfather talked about coming out here to the packing houses and making so much money at the packing houses that they bought their own house. So I don't know too many stories about the packing houses building housing for people or whatever, but they was making much money back in the day that they migrated here, first of all, from the South, the Great Migration. Black folks hearing about these jobs in the Midwest and got out here and got them jobs and made so much money they were buying their own houses and property.
Yeah.
Listen, it's a weird thing when you think about even when you think about like your company is paying for your health care, or your company is paying for your retirement package, your 401k, or a company is giving you lunch every day. It's as an entrepreneur, I got to do all the work that I'm doing for my company. As an entrepreneur, I got to do all that stuff, and I got to do it without perks. I don't have a perk of somebody give me a place to stay, or a company car, or free lunch every day at work, or a 401k, or any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. When I think about a company that's trying to entice you to come work for them, I think about that kind of stuff. When the pandemic hit and all those fast food joints were running, people were not working. They were desperately looking for workers. They were doing stuff like, we'll pay your. I saw one that said they will pay your pets' medical bills.
Man, that's crazy.
And your medical, and your dental, and I mean, they were running down the list of all these things that if you got to keep on bribing people to come work for you, it seems to me like your list is going to outweigh how much you're paying. Like, aren't you paying more stuff for these perks than you are paying the people? Like, pay somebody a living wage. They're grown. They can make their own decisions about where they want to live, what they want to do. It doesn't. Don't bribe me to come work for your company and then keep my pay at a pace where I couldn't do any of these things independently.
That's kind of where my mind is going. That's where my mind is going as far as like. I definitely agree. Like this is it sounds cool. It's all fine and dandy. And yes, thinking from a job. If I were searching for a job and one job offer more packs or more perks or more benefits than others, then yeah, I mean you're gonna go for the job that offers dental and health insurance over the job that doesn't. I mean that's just unless that job pays you enough to where you can't afford your own dental. You know what I mean? So it has to. And furthermore, where I feel like what you're saying is better as far as just outright being paid enough to do what you got to do. Because if you are being paid enough, then you can save. And if that company goes under, then you still got your money. But
and that's my point. If you're all tied up, the company gave you a house, gave you a car, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the company goes under, you get fired. That's all she wrote.
He's out.
That's it.
I want to jump into what Von Chapman was the person I was thinking about when this story came up, and I was thinking about what he might have to say about it. He said, the company program appears to subsidize employees and help with real affordable housing. This program actually appears to address poverty in a way that contradicts the ridiculous notion that TIF built, philanthropists inspired so-called affordable housing can fix poverty. I am very surprised that's what you had to say about that. I would have guessed almost the opposite. Because and that's because you're one of the people who has got me on this whole just pay us a living wage and we'll get our own housing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I will say this though, the little tinge in the back of my brain does say, what about the jobs that it doesn't work out in the market to pay a living wage? The jobs are low paying jobs. What do you do? I mean, because every job can't be a high paying. Every job can't be a high paying, high intensity job.
Mm-hmm.
Some jobs are less important, or not less important, but less crucial to. I don't know. Some jobs are getting ready to get taken over by AI. The ones that are about to get taken over by AI are the ones I'm talking about. The low-paying jobs, the ones that are that can be they're going to be automated at some point. You know, what do you do for people there? You know, what do you do for them people? So I can see, you know. That wants to subsidize, that wants to help with housing for people that they're living in an area that will never be able to pay that rent. I know it's a tough one to understand. So I put it to the chat. What say you about whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing? Should more companies be looking at providing affordable housing for their employees?
Or just paying more.
I mean, it seems like paying them more is cheaper to me than to start a whole real estate company, arm of the company.
Yeah, you would think that, but in this article again, it does state that the market itself, the housing costs in the market in Sidney, Nebraska, or Sarpy County, or wherever this company is high. So to that point, yes, it might be too costly for them to pay enough employees enough money for them to be able to afford to live in the area to be able to work there in the first place. So by that logic, then yes, they would build their own place, so they don't have to worry about that. But
Miss Ackerfeld said, "Good morning. It gives me company store vibes. What happens when you don't work there any longer? Exactly.
Yeah.
Tony Johnson 12 said this is the same thing that Carmen Tapio is doing with North End. I remember when we first started reporting on North End, we talked about that too. They provide a ride. They got North End buses. You can get a ride to work. You don't have to have a car. They provide a ride. They provide a lot of things. I'd like to actually get her on and talk about the things they provide with that job. But I do remember looking at the wages thinking, well, it's a good thing they got a bus because I wouldn't be able to pay the rent on that particular wage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be able to have a car payment with that particular wage. Brother Knight says, my idea was providing houses, then set a salary. Yeah, I like that. The salary possibly being recirculated within the black-owned co-op. You pay more than private landlords, change market price. That's interesting. Tamika Johnson, good morning, says, just pay people more. I wouldn't want to live around people I see all
I feel that. I feel that, and again, like there's what you kind of get stuck. Like where is the option for upper mobility? You know, in that sense. Can you afford to downgrade and maybe move to a smaller? How do you save? You know,
Right.
how does that affect?
How
what
do
the
you
company pays you?
build generational wealth on a situation like that?
Exactly. And yeah.
All right. So 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes, buddy. Fresh year on.
Man,
On. We got 6
yeah. So
minutes
there's
until the
that.
top of the show. Yep. Mhm.
There's that. I guess really quickly. Also, in other news,
Yep.
Senator Pete Ricketts has raised some money for a campaign. $1.57 million for joint committee. That's for
Must be nice.
that's basically a pot for Governor Ricketts to put in any other campaigns or to support any other candidates or support his own campaign as he makes an actual push for senator again. Now current Senator Ricketts, former Governor Ricketts.
U.S. Senator.
Yeah, as a current U.S. Senator, he was appointed to replace, I believe, Ben Sass. And now he has the opportunity to actually run for a full term as senator in 2024. So, yeah, there you have it. He's raised some money, not just for himself, but for others. $1.57 million pot for joint committee.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. In other news, apparently there's still talk about a border bill and immigration law and possible wall in Texas. Actually, speaking of Pillen and Ricketts, again, two state leaders, if you will, who have been very vocal about following suit of other Republican-led states, Texas being one of them. So we should definitely look at what's going on, and especially with House Bill 20. Which again is the latest bill coming out of Texas that would create a border protection unit that would allow the state to enforce immigration laws that courts have previously ruled to be the responsibility of the federal government. So again, the state's still trying to find a way to do the federal government's job. For example, the border protection unit would have the ability to arrest, detain, and deter individuals crossing the border illegally. And if you remember, Ricketts already sent some Nebraska State Patrol or state, not State Patrol, but National Guard, state National Guardsmen down to Texas to help with those border patrols, which, yeah. And we already have Nebraska senators saying that immigrants are taking up the jobs in Nebraska. So, yeah, you can see the connection there.
And also, this bill would allow for militia groups to be the ones that round people up. And yeah, that's the big thing about that. These they'll deputize people to be rounding up immigrants,
more overseers, if you will. In other news, speaking of overseers, Fox News is going under.
Is it going under?
Yeah. I do believe I'm. As far as I know, we can verify, but as far as I know, this $700 million lawsuit that Fox has just been hit with again, this all stems from their pushing of the Trump lie that the 2020 election was rigged and stolen, and Dominion Voting System, which is the tech company that was behind a lot of the voting machines, says that whole witch hunt defamed their name, and that defamation suit again has led to a $787 million price tag in settlement, which is actually only half of what they originally asked for. They were looking for a $1.6 billion suit, but only settled at about $787 million, which I do believe is enough to make Fox go under.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we'll see if that happens. I think most people knew that Fox was lying, and they was watching anyway. So there's a market for it. Quite
there
sure.
You go. There you go.
I'm also thinking about that company called Dominion, who's worried about their name being diminished. I mean, maybe you shouldn't call yourself Dominion Voting Machines.
Yeah. There's a lot to it.
Fox News ain't going nowhere. Recoup that money fast. That's what I'm feeling like, Tony Johnson. They ain't going nowhere. Man.
Of course, I mean, you got Murdoch who's behind it, Rupert Murdoch, and he's, I don't know, is $780 million, is that enough
Ain't going nowhere, bro.
Yeah, it does. I'm sure even if it's not Fox News, like you said, there's a market, there's an audience for it, so they'll come back.
Fox News did not settle at an amount that would have put them out of business.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how settlements work.
Right. But again, I think, but we'll verify. But
Okay.
the fact of the matter is, they did settle for $787 with Dominion, and it's quite a hit. Whether or not it's not enough to shut them down or not is not anything to blink at.
Proves something. It's a symbolic amount of money. It proves that they lie and that they got propaganda going on. So
that part, I don't think that's a part we should gloss over either, as far as the fact that they got caught up. So there you go. And that does it.
9:00. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate everybody who joined into the chat. Kimmer, you said that you wanted to share some words from. Let me see what you said. Share some words from Brother Sherman Wells.
Hey.
I don't know. Do we have time to do that? Don't really have time to do that right now. He says. She says, loving yourself will lead to. Oh, is this what Brother Sherman Wells said? Loving yourself will lead to love for others. So today, do this. Every reflection of yourself you see, say, I love you, and mean it with a smile. I like that. That's what's up.
Man, self-love is the best love. Can't pour from an empty cup.
There you go. Buddy, any words for the people?
Man, big shout out to everybody. I don't really have any haps. If you have any haps, feel free to drop it into the chat.
We don't really have time for that.
Yeah. So people can, if you have any haps, drop it in the chat so people can go back and see. Or if you want to drop that in Friends of First Sky Omaha, feel free to do that. But yeah, just get out there, enjoy the weekend. And I'm not sure what the weather is looking like in Omaha, but there is Earth Day going on at Elmwood Park. I do know that. So get out, enjoy the weekend, have a good time. Kind of unplug from the devices and from the noise. Take care of yourselves at the end of the day. Take care of yourselves. Do whatever you got to do. Read a book, get outside, get some fresh air, drink some water, whatever. Just take care of yourselves and catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Big shout out to the Senators, Terrell, McKinney, and Justin Wayne. Big shout out to Justin Wayne as he makes his travels to Miami doing the work. As always, safe travels to you, brother. And man, condolences to the McKinney family as well. Big prayers as they deal with their recent loss. And yeah, man, big love to everybody for tuning in, enjoying this experience with us. Hopefully, as much as I have enjoyed it, if not more. And without further ado, Paul B, take it away.
Right on. A little earlier, Gwen Easter said tomorrow, April 22nd, is the Commission on African American Affairs meet and greet at North High School from 9 a.m. to 11:30. Please join us. I think it's a very important thing to go to as well. That's tomorrow, Saturday, 11:30 at North High. Definitely check that out. I'm sorry, 9 to 11:30 at North High. Don't be late because of me. Just any other haps, just put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha. The group page, we will have an extensive haps on Friday. There's a couple things happening. I'm sorry, this is Friday. We'll have a more extensive haps on Monday than we usually do because there's some things coming up this week that we definitely need to be paying attention to, in my opinion. And those of you that have things going on this weekend, please put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha. We will review them. So thank you. That woman said, I just woke up. I'll catch the replay. Wishing everyone beautiful weekend. Drink your water, catch your money, monitor your health. Be good to yourselves. Appreciate that very much. Definitely appreciate that very much. Also, thank you. Yes, she's reminding me to let everybody know if you've missed any parts of this show, go back to First Sky Omaha, the Facebook page, the YouTube page, watch it in its entirety, and do us a favor and definitely read the chats when you're checking out the show as well. That's where a lot of the conversation that goes on, and it's a great one. So appreciate it very much. We will see you Monday. Want to give thanks to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Want to give thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them, and I want to give shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. We really thank you very much for you joining us and adding so much to this whole conversation. It's incredible how much you guys are really contributing here, and people paying attention. So I really appreciate you very much. I also appreciate all the recurring sponsors of the channel. If you're so inclined, go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the donate button so we can keep this conversation going. Really appreciate everybody who is already doing that, and I encourage you to continue. We have some good plans, some good perks, and some good things that are coming. in order to enhance what it is that we're trying to do here. It comes to representing the Black and brown communities of Omaha. Thank you very much, and we will see. Oh, let me get this up before I get ready. Okay, now I'm ready. Just put my finger on the trigger. So right on. We'll see you Monday. You guys have a good weekend. Pray, send some prayers. Hope I make it back in one piece.
Man, yeah, safe travels, bro. Safe travels.
Appreciate you, man. All right, you guys have a good one. Peace.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red